Hey, we're back with Adamant Toys. We didn't even get to see everything this guy does, because he can cast, he can cast Earthshake, obviously. Ouchies. But he also has access to Thundara. But the funny thing is because he's a turtle that's near a swamp, like, I guess near, like, a watery area, he's also weak to thunder, so it's kind of funny he can cast his own weakness. Curious if we'll see him use it, but what we want to see, or I guess what I want to see is, I want to use Matcha Magic on him and see if I can hit that. There we go! Oh, he cast Thundara. Good to know. Ooh! Wow, that's some damage. So obviously, if you're having trouble eating something, Matcha Magic is always great. But if this guy is at 1 HP, yes, you're reading that right, he can cast Limit Glove. So if you Matcha Magic him down to 1 HP, he will just insta-kill someone. Bam! 9999. I always think that's so funny this guy has this. Like, how many people have ever seen that naturally? And, like, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I believe that as long as he's at 1 HP, that's the only attack he'll use. So, like, if you Matcha Magic him down to 1 HP because you want to eat him with Quena, and then he uses it on Quena, it's like, well, shit, you know? I guess let's see here. He might actually alternate, I'm not sure. Let's see if he Earth Shakes us and wipes us out. No, he's just gonna keep using Limit Glove. Fair enough, man. Jeez, poor Quena. Poor Quena indeed. Frickin' Wombo comboed. This isn't the only enemy that has this, but there's a couple enemies that actually have access to Limit Glove, and they will fully use it if they're at 1 HP. It's quite a nasty surprise. I mean, it's not that big a deal because, like, at the end of the day, when you think about it, this actually means that he can only hit one target now. So as long as, you can keep throwing your Phoenix down, it's actually very safe. In that sense. Because now you don't have to worry about him using Earthshake and, like, potentially, like, doing a bunch of damage to everyone. But yeah, it's just a funny thing that he has access to that. I've always thought, like, there's a couple enemies too. And, like, it's just like a funny thing that they added that to the enemy's repertoire. And, like, specifically one other way to make it so that if the enemy is at 1 HP, they will just spam that shit. By the way, I mentioned Distract before, and I thought the numbers were a little more complicated, but it turns out it's as simple as just enemy attacks are half as accurate on the person with Distract. Distract does not affect the full party, so you do actually get a benefit to equipping it on multiple people. Because it doesn't stack party-wide, but it does stack like, I guess each person has their own instance, right? Which, I guess to put it in simple terms, all physical attacks in this game are by default 100% accurate, and then they do a check against the target's evasion stat, right? So if you have, 25% evasion, there's a 25% chance that a physical attack that checks for, the target's evasion stat will miss. This check is separate from the actual accuracy of the attack. So if an attack only had, say, 25% accuracy, it would essentially miss, like, the effects are two separate checks, right? So, like, you would miss more often the lower accuracy you have. Like for example, you know, like I said, if you had 25% accuracy on your physical attack, you wouldn't just always miss someone with 25% evasion. It doesn't work like that. However, there are obviously ways to lower the base accuracy of a physical attack, such as through Distract, which halves it. There's also obviously Darkness, which also halves it, and Confusion, which also halves it. So there's a lot of ways to potentially make physical attacks extremely inaccurate. But I guess, I didn't check MP attack. I totally forgot. I think I've already explained this, but I believe, let me actually double check here before we end things off here. This will be a short half part. I might even tack this onto the end because I kind of didn't realize how short this was going to be, but yeah, MP attack is 150% damage. It stacks with all the other stuff. So it stacks with a killer ability and it stacks with, plus elemental attack gear and stuff. And it works notably with like healer, by the way. So you could slap, I didn't even show off that Amaranth can learn healer, which he actually gets good use of that because he actually has a strong physical attack. So he can slap healer and MP attack on to do like pretty big healing damage. It's pretty nice. And like keep in mind that MP attack, just like everything else, it works on everything, right? So like even if it's like a counter attack or through like any other like weird stuff like Confusion, it'll still work. I believe, okay, so according to the wiki, it uses 1/8 of your MP every time you get used. So unfortunately, it does scale with your MP, so you only ever get 8 uses before you have to heal. But MP attack is very strong, so it's probably fair enough. Because like the reality is that with certain, like if you have elemental attack gear, like an elemental attack weapon, and you're attacking something that's weak to the element, and you have something that's, boosts that element, and you have MP attack on, and you have a man killer ability on in some way, like it stacks up to like ridiculous amounts. Like it gets to the point where you're doing like let's even calculate this out myself. So MP attack boosts it to 150, and then a killer ability boosts it to 225% because it boosts the whole thing by another 50%. It doesn't add 50% to the formula. It's a separate 50% boost in the formula. So that boosts it to 225. And then from there, if say you're using elemental gear and you're boosting your elemental damage, that's another 50% boosts. So I believe that boosts it to, it would be like 112% boost, right? Actually, let me get a calculator out. That'll make things easier for me because I don't remember what the percentages would be, but I believe it rounds down. So I can't add, like, I can't add the boost. So let's just say 100%, times 1.5. That boosts it to 150, times it by 150 again. I suck with a calculator apparently, so times that 1.5 again. That boosts it to 225% damage. And then we times it by 1.5 again to get to 337.5, but you would remove the integer, so it's just 337% damage. And then if they have an elemental weakness, that's another 50% boost, all the way up to 505% damage. Like that, you're doing 5 times damage with all that stuff on. That's how you end up doing 9999 incredibly early in this game. Like it's stupid strong if you have everything stacked up here. Like physical attacks in this game are actually so strong. Like magic kind of falls off at certain points, but physical attacks are pretty much always good if you know what you're doing. Anyways, I digress. That'll be it for I guess this will be a short half part, but I don't want to slap on another 10 minutes of footage to the end of this. So yeah, that'll be it for this part. See you guys later.